us to gather this morning here at our beautiful sanctuary that we know as a Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living. We know that everyone who is here in the sanctuary and every person joining us on the World Wide Web is a wonderful and perfect expression of love. And so we acknowledge that love is that which permeates every cubic inch of this sanctuary this morning. It is that which touches and heals and blesses and uplifts and inspires. It is that which expresses in and through and as the message perfectly channeled through our beloved pastor, Rev John. It is the sweet strains of melodies sung through each one of us and through our musical items. And it is that which throws open the doors of our consciousness to allow the impression of spirit to weave its way into our hearts and to lift us up into continued paths of evolution and spiritual unfoldment. And so I give thanks for this blessed and beautiful moment. I give thanks for everything that is occurring this morning, and to know that it is all to the honor and glory of that which brought us into being. I truly give thanks as I release these words with a sense of joy and gratitude in my heart, knowing that the law acts upon them and they become our absolute experience in this moment and beyond. I truly rejoice that this is so now, and so it is. And this morning, friends, I have a reading for you from one of my favorite books. It is so marked up, it is not funny. And it's by Petra Weldes and Christian Sorensen. And it's called, Reverend Ann, this is how much time I'm reminding you to get us so that we can share in this wonderful reading. The Joyous Living Journal. And of course, there's a reading for every day. And February 16 has a title, Love as Spiritual Practice. There's an epigraph by Margaret Anderson that says, in real love, you want the other person's good. In romantic love, you want the other person. Interesting. And they read, there are so many ways to understand and define love. Many of these definitions revolve around romantic love. But this just isn't enough. Love is actually a spiritual principle that is at the heart of life itself. Love is the impulsion of life to express and become more through everyone and all of creation. Therefore, everything is already in love and worthy of love. The spiritual practice of love is having a positive regard for another. Love is a decision to act and behave toward another in a positive and consistent way. Love is the desire to know another as much as you know yourself. Love is the ability to care deeply. Love is not afraid to tell the truth. Love is indeed the most powerful force in the world. And here's something for you to contemplate. How do you live the spiritual practice of love in your life? How do you practice being love when you don't feel loving? Think about that. And of course, love is one of our cultural values. So think about that. How do you live the spiritual practice of love in your life? And how do you practice being love when you don't feel loving? And here's an affirmation that perhaps we can say together. I am love in expression, and I bring love, excuse me. I am love in expression, and I bring love to every situation. Let's say that together. I am love in expression, and I bring love to every situation. And so it is. And now together we are going to sing our praise song. Our praise song this morning, if I can find my program, yes. Here we go. Our praise song this morning is "Fi Me Love Have Lion Heart," a beautiful Jamaican song. Let's stand and enjoy it together.
Fi me love have lion heart, fi me love have lion heart, strong and everlasting, only for you. If we part and never meet again, though we part and never meet again, female love is like a king reign, strong and everlasting, only for you. Female love have never died, female love will never die, shining like the sunshine, only for you.
And so it is. Wow. Female love have lion heart. Wow. Wow. So now we're going to have the prayer of our center. And that is on the flyer in your program. Let's say it together. The Temple of Light, Center for Spiritual Living, is a sacred field embodying our spiritual community, from which the Christ peace and love and joy emanate, to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, and to liberate anyone who comes into contact with it in any way. The light of the Christ illumines us, our center, and our environment. Our spiritual community is filled with and surrounded by the presence of God, and is growing from strength to strength. The power of God expands our consciousness of truth, guiding us ceaselessly along the paths of wisdom, spiritual growth, unfoldment, and attainment. We are blessed, and to God be the honor and the glory forever. And so it is. Please be seated. I know it's my pleasure to light the candle for you. We need to shed some light on these matches. Stay. There we go. You see, when you persist, the light is always there. So let's say together the blessing of our youth. We love you. We appreciate you. We salute the Christ in you. We see you as shining lights unto your world. God is blessing you now. And so it is. And now we're going to sing our temple mission song.
The temple of light, the temple of light, the temple of light. We are a people with a vision, in spirit on a mission to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, to love and liberate anyone who comes into contact with us, anytime, night or day. The temple of light,
The temple of light,
the temple of light. We are a people with a vision, one in spirit on a mission to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, to love and liberate anyone who comes into contact with us, anytime, night or day.
Yay! Wow. Wow, that is our Temple of Light mission song, crafted so beautifully by our maestro, Noel Dexter. And friends, now we have a few short announcements. Here we are. Our flowers this morning. We have the colors of love. We have pink and red gingers, and are those daisies, Reverend John? And we have anthuriums. Wow. And so they are lovingly created and the expression of spirit through Mrs. Connie Nugent, donated by loving members of our community. Thank you so much, Connie. And we're just reminding you that flowers are such a wonderful gesture and way to mark special occasions like birthdays and anniversaries, just to honor our loved ones who have gone on to greater expression. And so we invite you to contribute to flowers, or as we say, try your hand at making the flowers happen through our wonderful arrangements. Now, a very special experience in the morning is quiet moments in the garden with Reverend John. For those of you who are able to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning, I invite you to join Reverend John on Facebook Live at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And please join us again, Facebook Live, for our spiritual mind healing service on Tuesday, February 9 at 6 p.m. And this Tuesday we have a special treat from our practitioner, Mrs. Jennifer Livingston. Now, I see Jeannie sitting in the sanctuary this morning, and so we're inviting you to join her, Mrs. Jean Barnes, this Wednesday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., sharing in the meditation garden. Of course, we'll be seated observing protocols, 6 feet apart. Thank you, Jeannie. And so it will be a face-to-face complementary class discussing how we can apply the science of mind principles to everyday living. And that's the only way to go, because we come on a Sunday morning, we learn the principles, we have to be able to apply them. Another powerful experience that we have together as a community is prayer power on a Thursday evening at 6 p.m., 6 to 7. So join us for that beautiful hour where you can enjoy a time of fellowship at what we call prayer power. It's a circle of prayer whose purpose is to facilitate spiritual growth. Anyone is free to participate and experience the benefits of spontaneous prayer. Prayer Power also utilizes Zoom, so you will need to let us know if you really would like to come so that we can send you the link. Now, one thing that really deepens the science of mind principles is attending classes. And we ask that you make coming to classes your spiritual commitment for 2021. Rev John Scott begins a new series of classes based on Eric Butterworth's very, very special book, Spiritual Economics. Classes will be offered on Zoom on Tuesday evenings also, beginning February 9th from 7 p.m. to 9. Reverend John, the Tuesday is your class, is that correct? Okay. So Tuesday evening from 7 to 9 and repeated live? awesome. Oh, this is a new innovation. So we have it live on Tuesdays from 7 to 9 via Zoom. And of course, remember to send us your link so that we can, send us your intention to attend, and so that we can send you the link. And of course, make a call to the office first so that you can register for this class. And also on Thursday mornings, the same class will be repeated from 11 to 1. So email us at the Temple of Light at cwjamaica.com to register and to receive the link. Okay, also on a Thursday evening, Reverend Ann Shan and Reverend Sonia Davidson will continue the series titled Revealing Wholeness from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., also on Zoom. Now, classes for non-residents of Jamaica will be 16 US, and for members, 10 US. Now, for our family members in Jamaica, classes will be 1,600 for non-members and 12 for members. To sign up for classes, simply type in your web browser, classes.templeoflightcsl.org, and it will take you to information that is necessary for you to register, as well as the payment option. Or if you wish, you can just call into the temple for further information, 876-946-2230. Similarly, to make contributions in support of our wonderful ministry, you can just type into your browser donate.templeoflightcsl.org. Of course, if you are here in Jamaica, you can pay at the office or transfer funds to our account at Scotiabank, account number 20941. That's Bank of Nova Scotia, Knutsford Boulevard. Now, next week we have a very, very special celebration, what we call Friendship Sunday, and it is Valentine's Day. So it's going to be really, really exciting. So we invite you to bring a friend or invite a friend to participate with you online. And our speaker for this event will be our love-filled and wonderful assistant minister, Reverend Ann Shan. So do please remember our Friendship Sunday next week, Valentine's Day, February 14th. Now, for other services, you can call again at the office, 876-946-2230. If you are intending to come to the sanctuary in person, because we do have limited seating because of observing the protocols. And so we invite that you wear a face mask and observe all the other protocols. Please also remember to maintain physical distancing and to leave the premises as quickly as possible after the service. If you can't bless us with your presence on a Sunday, you can still be with us in consciousness as we continue to stream our services live via Facebook Live. Now, for prayer support this morning, and for any morning and any time, we continue to respond with prayer to the challenges of this very special time. So today, a practitioner will be available to pray with you during a 15-minute period immediately following this service. And every Sunday, this morning, our practitioner is Reverend, I'm dictating now, Reverend Vance, our practitioner, Vance Gardner. And the number to call is 876-289-0907. So you can take note of that. 876-289-0907. You can also listen to an inspiring prayer by calling our prayer line at 876-978-1167. And if you wish to speak in person with one of our ministers or practitioners, they may be reached at 876-289-0907, anytime between 8 a.m. and 12 midnight, Monday to Friday. You can phone in your prayer requests also into our office at 876-927-6145 or 946-2230. Of course, I know you have all these numbers on speed dial in your phone. Or you can just email us at templeoflight@cwjamaica.com. Now, if you are worshiping with us here in the sanctuary, there are 2 baskets, one on either side of the podium, and for you to place your offerings as you exit the sanctuary. And this concludes our announcements. And before... Oh, Jeannie. Okay. But Jeannie, you need to come to the mic. No, we have to, because it's online. We need for everyone to hear.
Thank you. This is just a little thing about sharing. It's really what it says, sharing. If anybody divinely led and guided to attend, yes? Okay. I'm far enough away. Good. If anybody divinely led and guided to attend, we're going to ask you to prepare to share. That's what it's called. It's not just a talking down, talk shop. It's where you have an experience. You hear these things on Sunday morning and you feel great, and you go away and feel wonderful. But there is Monday, Tuesday, and there's a whole week. What has happened? Have we put it into practice? Has it worked for us? Has it not worked? We're going to ask anybody who is divinely led and guided to attend to be prepared to share an experience so that we can all benefit from it. Okay? Many thanks.
Oh, thank you, Jeannie. So come on out. It's this Wednesday at 6. Wednesday from 5 to 6. Right. And be prepared to share. Okay. All right. So before we end this part of the morning, I would just like to share with you very, very briefly my very first update on the activities of the Thriving Ministry Council since I assumed the role of chair. So the big thing for us at this time is our strategy development. Following the very successful completion of our Summit 2020 in November, we are now in the process of weaving the outputs of that exercise into a carefully and detailed strategic plan. The plan is based on the vision of the temple collectively crafted by participants at the summit. And I invite you to just close your eyes for a minute and picture it with me. I'm going to share the vision. In 2030, the Temple of Light is a science of mind center of excellence that is spiritually empowering, culturally relevant, visibly financially thriving, and utilizing state-of-the-art technology in the delivery of our products and services through inspired and committed leadership. Reflecting a multi-generational vitality that is responsive to the needs of our youth and a diverse local and global community, we share our message of love, healing, prosperity, and inclusiveness through powerful messages, contemporary, vibrant music, and social engagement with a distinctly Jamaican flavor. Our accredited academic institution delivers world-renowned educational programs and learning experiences backed by sound governance principles that support our adherence to our mission, vision, and values. Wow, 2030. All right, I hope that you're all going to be along with us for the ride. Sounds exciting. Well, it is. There are 6 innovative teams under the guidance of Ms. Lorna Phillips, and we are working assiduously to bring this vision to life. The teams are Vibrant Youth Ministry, ensuring succession, Tech Action, facilitating communication and connectivity through technology, Education Programs Development and Delivery, That is the core of our work here at the Temple of Light. Temple of Light Property Trailblazers for income generation and sustainability. Governance for organizational integrity, structure, and order. And culture, the consciousness, the magnetic energy and vibe of the temple. So our work together is exciting. It is challenging and sometimes daunting, as the process is very new for all of us. But every week there is learning related to what we are feeling. And so we are all inspired and committed to growing through our bumps and humps under Lorna's gentle and loving guidance. We are definitely going to keep you in the loop and posted regarding our progress. And to God be the glory. Now, a few quadrant reports very quickly. Here's what some of our quadrants are doing. Raising consciousness. With a new leadership in place with Chair Dr. Sonia Williams, the Raising Consciousness Quadrant is pleased to announce that it will be shortly releasing a set of 14 guided meditations on peace for health and wellness, relationships, wealth, and abundance. This project was spearheaded by the Quadrant's new Vice Chair, Mrs. Elizabeth Terry, and was totally financed by Quadrant members, supported by Mikey Bennett, who provided studio time for recording. This is an income-generating effort, so digital recordings will be available and accessible via YouTube at a time to be announced. You'll also be able to purchase a set of all the meditations on a beautifully packaged USB thumb drive. Those of you who are here next Sunday, which we celebrate as Friendship Sunday, will get a taste of one of these beautifully inspiring meditations to take away. FOC. This quadrant is also going to be working with Reverend Ann to assist in categorizing and organizing the books in the book room by themes and subject areas so that they're more easily accessible for purchase and to help with your spiritual needs. Now, remember last Christmas we had our organization quadrant, Everyday Christmas Luncheon. They realized a profit of $158 or almost $159,000. And the funds will be used in the development of the physical structure of the temple to increase its beauty and functionality as a wedding and event venue. Of course, we'll be hearing a little bit more about that. Our culture quadrant, as chair of the culture quadrant, Reverend Michael offers 3 ways to experience peace. Remember that peace is one of our values, and values play a very, very significant role in deepening our culture. He says, firstly, in preparing to interact with others, go within. There you will encounter the still small voice of God, which is always peaceful. You will emerge from the communion with peace in your mind, heart, and spirit, which will flow into your interaction with others. Secondly, he says, choose to have conversations with others rather than confrontations. Conversations, by definition, mean sharing of thoughts, facts, and opinions, and it involves deep listening. Thirdly, watch your words. Let them be guided by love and the wisdom of spirit. It also means being aware that our words are creative. And when you speak, you are speaking things, people, and events into being in your life. To paraphrase Flip Wilson, he says, what you speak is what you get. Thank you for that, Reverend Michael. And the community building quadrant is working on a project of creating cells of connection to engage with members of our community who are perhaps not around for a while, just to ensure that there is sharing and that we maintain our contact with our members. And the last thing I'd like to share with you, just as we walk this path together, I certainly would, I know I cannot forget, and I invite you to bear in mind the powerhouse behind this teaching. we're carrying the legacy of an amazing person, Reverend Dr. Elmer Lumsden, the founding minister of the Temple of Light, Center for Spiritual Living. Tuesday, January 26th would have been her 96th birthday. And we honored her with a special tribute at our spiritual mind healing service that evening. And I'll just share snippets of that tribute. As a leader, she was focused, single-minded, and acted always from principle. As a teacher, she presented and explained the ideas of the science of mind with powerful examples, often from her own life, to demonstrate the simplicity of the principles. She practiced what she preached, acknowledging and demonstrating the abundance of God in her own life. She taught us the importance of having a strong spiritual practice to strengthen our faith and confidence to be who we need to be and do what we need to do in order to thrive. Dr. Elmer taught us that the work begins and ends in one's own mind, which is where our greatness lies. So how can we all honor this great woman's legacy? I feel that each of us has a responsibility to avail ourselves of the teaching of the science of mind in whatever way we can. Come to class, participate in one of our quadrants or on one of our committees. Build your consciousness and do whatever needs to be done to keep this amazing center alive and thriving. And that is it for me for the next 4 weeks. Thank you all for patiently sharing in our report. And now, I invite you to stand and to join us with our first hymn this morning, Love Divine or Love Excelling.
Love divine, oh love excelling, joys of every life abound. We remain thy holy dwelling, all thy faithful mercies crown. Love divine is life's expression, no unbounded love we see. Shown is now thy great creation, perfectly revealed through thee. Praise to thee, O great Creator, praise be thine from every tongue. Oh, let every living creature join the universal song. Spirit, source of all our being, free eternal life is thine. Hail the God of all salvation, praise Him, He is love divine. Riches come of thee, and honor, power and might to thee belong. Thine it is to make us prosper, only thine to make us strong. Lord, to thee, thou God of mercy, hymns of gratitude we raise. To thy name forever glorious, ever we address our praise.
Thank you so much. Please be seated. It always is a pleasure for me to introduce our pastor, because I know that he's going to create and generate ideas and bring a message that is powerful and passionate and that will allow us to see the science of mind up close and personal. Friends, put your hands together and welcome our pastor, Reverend John Scott.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I feel like it's Valentine's Day already. The love month has begun. But every day of every month is a love expression for us at the Temple of Light, Center for Spiritual Living in beautiful Jamaica. So welcome to our hearts and to the sanctuary where love reigns enthroned in perpetual splendor on all our hearts, whether we are here in person or celebrating this morning's service on the World Wide Web. You know, I'm one of those fortunate people who grew up surrounded by expressions of love. My parents constantly demonstrated the way to love. So that is the title of my encouragement this morning, The Way to Love. There are many ways to love, yes? But the way to love used to sometimes cause my older brother Dennis and I to giggle with amusement when we thought our parents were being silly. And at other times we would groan in embarrassment when they expressed their affection publicly. I mean, of our friends, whose parents goes for walks in the afternoon, holding hands and stopping, to look at a bougainvillea and smooch, pecking each other on the cheek and hugging tightly. So we used to just squirm with embarrassment. Now that I'm a grown person and I look back at it, it's so romantic and so beautiful and such a demonstration of the way to love. So one Valentine's Day, Mommy gave Daddy a bound volume of a book that he treasured. It was called The Best Loved Poems of the American People. And she gave him enough. And then complained bitterly to my brother Dennis and I that his nose was always buried in a book, and namely into it, the poetry book, because he loved poetry and he loved theater. But she never nagged him about it. It was never an issue for argument, because she had a much subtler technique of getting her own way. You ladies will relate to this, I'm sure. So picture this. Daddy sitting on the veranda on a Sunday morning after church, puffing on his pipe and reading from his Valentine's book. My mom, feather duster in hand, breezes past him as she puts our already immaculate house in order. And she pauses long enough to offer him another cup of coffee and then says, "Sweetheart, don't get up now, dear." That always meant not now, but in 30 seconds. Don't get up, darling, but when you have time, would you please fix that dripping faucet on that laundry we spoke about? Without hesitation, Dad leaps to his feet and fetches his tool pan and goes to do her bidding. What's a lesson in how you get what you want, eh? 20 minutes later or a half an hour, he's back on the veranda with the best love poems in his lap, and the pipe is already relit. Mom reappears and, perching on the arm of his chair, coos. "Love me?" "Mm-hmm," he mutters. She continues. "I'm doing your favorite for lunch, roast beef and Yorkshire pudding." He says, eyes glued to the book. Mom, who was never deterred by our preoccupation with other matters, asks sweetly, "Darling, do you want to plant those 2 rose plants you and the boys gave me for Valentine's Day on the front lawn, or do you think we should have it in the back where there is more sun?" She doesn't wait for an answer. She's off into the house to do some more dusting. And Daddy gets up. He goes for the garden fork, and as he's heading to the garden, he mutters, "A thing of beauty is a job forever." Deliberately misquoting Endymion, the beautiful poem by the 19th century English romantic poet John Keats. What Keats actually wrote was, "A thing of beauty is a joy forever. But Dad never let on whether the thing of beauty to which he referred was the house, the garden, or Mommy. He was, after all, an expert at building and maintaining relationships. But I know now that a thing of beauty is both a joy and a job. I can tell you, our grounds here at the Temple of Light and our sanctuary, just so beautiful, and they are a joy, but it also takes a lot of work and planning and management to maintain them, as you will appreciate. And so I want to give kudos to our Ministry of the Environment group, which pays such loving attention to the environment of the Temple of Light. Yes, I think they deserve a hand. So I remember well, my friends, those early lessons in friendship. And one day, though, I asked my dad why he always jumped to do Mommy's bidding. She can't wait until you finish reading your book or reading the papers. Why she can't wait? Dad, smiling, puts his book aside and says, "You know, son, I have noticed that when your friends next door call you, you drop whatever you're doing and rush to the fence. Well, look at it this way, boy. Mommy is my friend." Lesson learned. Years after my parents passed on, I read Dr. Gary Chapman's work on the ways people in relationships receive and give love. Chapman calls these ways the 5 love languages. Chapman categorizes these as physical touch, quality time, receiving gifts, words of approbation, and acts of service. And he maintains that we all respond positively to one or more of these love languages, and that when the people we are dealing with use them, speak them to us, we feel loved and appreciated and validated in the relationship. So, suppose, for example, my primary love language is words of approbation, and my partner never praises or acknowledges the good I do. I feel, or I may feel, unappreciated and perhaps even unloved at the time. Similarly, suppose you and your partner go out for an afternoon drive. You know, you're tired of being in the house on lockdown, and so you decide to take a Sunday afternoon drive out, and your partner is driving. And let us say that your partner's love language is touch, physical touch. And so as he drives along through a beautiful country lane, or he or she, they reach across for your hand. And your reaction is, put your hand back on the steering wheel. You're trying to get us both killed. Keep your hand on the steering wheel now. See what has happened? Somebody just poured cold water on a warm feeling. And maybe the rest of that drive is in silence. And after half an hour, you say, something wrong there? No. Mm-mm. But that person feels rejected and unloved in the moment. And so the first part of your assignment, and you know I always give an assignment, should you decide to undertake it, is to practice the love languages in your relationships. So let me just go through them for you again. If your love language is physical touch, and I want you to do this not with your partner or your loved one, but with yourself. You know, it is easy sometimes to love the other, but we very often neglect loving ourselves. And so if your love language is physical touch, that's what makes you feel worthwhile. When you are bathing or applying lotion, just gently massage yourself and say your name loud and say, I love you. I really love and appreciate you. Do the physical touch for yourself. If your love language is quality time, spend some quality time with yourself. Just carve out a little time to be with you and write a few lines in your journal regarding why you love your own company. What makes you such good company? Begin doing that for yourself. If receiving gifts makes you feel appreciated, give yourself a Valentine's gift this week. It doesn't have to be something expensive, just something nice. That, for me, it would be ice cream, but I'm trying to, not love myself that much. But give yourself a gift. If your love language is words of approbation, daily affirm your worthiness and your validity and your authenticity, and write it in your journal. I love and approve of myself. And if it's act of service, again, you do so much for others. This week, do something special for you. You know, I did something special for myself many years ago when I decided to come to the Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living. My good friend, my soul friend, my Anamkara, as the Irish say, Larry Chang, invited me here. And I can tell you, when I visited the temple and listened to words of wisdom just pouring from the lips of Dr. Elmer Lumsden, I have to say the predominant feeling was love. And I experienced it. It was almost palpable, and it was quite overwhelming. And I don't remember what she spoke about, but I do remember that the responsive reading was from 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels and have not love, I am become as sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. Well, Reverend Elmer was no tinkling cymbal, I can tell you, or no sounding brass. Love shone forth from her and seemed to radiate from the very walls of the place. At the time, you know, my friend Larry and I used to tease each other because he said, I feel a think. And I said, he thinks a feel. Which means, when I asked him a question, he would always respond cerebrally. Well, I think so and so and so. And when he asked me a question, I'd always respond from my heart and say, well, I feel so and so. So after that first Sunday in 1981, we went to his house for coffee, as was our wont on a Sunday morning. And he said, what did you think? Because this was cerebral. What did you think about the message? And I said, boy, I've never been to a church where I felt so much love. He said, I didn't ask you what you felt. I asked you what you thought. So I said, oh, okay then. I thought I felt I've never felt so much love. At the time, you know, I had just gone through a painful divorce or separation from a company of which I had been a founding member, and I was still angry and in litigation and all of that and wanting to be right. You know, we always want to be right. I remember discussing it with Reverend Emma, and she said, do you want to be right? Do you want to be justified, or do you want to do the right thing? So, you know, her guidance was just invaluable. And I found that love was the balm that I could pour on all of my resentment and my bad feelings, that I could let it go because love was the great healer. And I realized that although from childhood I had learned to express love in familiar and everyday exchanges of affection with family and close friends, the challenge was, how do you love? It was in your reading this morning, Sandy. How do you love when you don't feel loving? How do you become love when that's the furthest thing from how you are feeling or what you are thinking in the moment? And so, after that first Sunday listening to Reverend Elmer, 1 Corinthians became my go-to affirmation. And so, your second part of your assignment is this. There are 13 verses to this beautiful scripture, and your mission, your undertaking, should you decide to do it, is to write just one verse each day of 1 Corinthians 13, but do it using your non-dominant hand. So if you're right-handed, use your left hand to write the verse. If you are left-handed, use your right hand to write the verse. It is said that when you use your non-dominant hand, you help to create new neural pathways. I dare say pathways to love if you're dealing with 1 Corinthians 13. And that it helps to balance your left and right cerebral hemispheres. You can have great fun with it because when you do it, it really looks like a child's writing, and you understand, you have a better understanding of how children learning to write. You remember when you had to go, but you had to keep between the lines and how difficult it was? In fact, I remember getting a slapping because I was to color between the lines of my coloring book. And I thought that it was of a bird or a duck or something flying. And I thought this with my crayon was indicating rhythm, and it was actually. But that wasn't what you had to do. They forced you to think narrowly beyond the lines. Well, when you write with your non-dominant hand, you open up the possibilities, and you will have great fun trying it. So every morning, just one verse. And remember that as you do this, you are creating a neural pathway to being more loving. Friends, love centered in self alone, appropriated only for our own satisfaction, without including the highest good of others, leaves us alone and isolated from life. Fortunately, practice makes permanent. They say practice makes perfect, but I like practice makes permanent because the more you do something, the more it gets ingrained, doesn't it? It's like you carve a groove in your consciousness so that is your go-to response, that is your default position. And we can make love our default position if we practice until it becomes permanent. So, if any kind of discord in your life calls for greater love than before, if you're tired of talking to the children, or your nerves are at the breaking point dealing with an aging parent, or your grown children and you just aren't seeing eye to eye, or someone at work is really getting to you, consider this. And I quote, love is patient and what? Kind. It's not jealous or boastful. It is not arrogant or rude. Love does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrong, but rejoices in the right. So we need not, my friends, be so concerned with finding out who is at fault and trying to be right all the time in our harmonious relationships. We students of the science of mind know that we demonstrated the relationships that we are in, both intimate and social and work-related, and they can be powerful teachers. But we must heal any discord with that love balm, that power of love, by being patient and kind and reminding ourselves. Perhaps you just pause and say, I wonder what love would do now. What would love do? And when that answer comes to you, take a deep breath and proceed along the path to love. So here's a little tip. Whenever you're faced with trying experiences or human adversities, every time you begin to feel irked by others, just do what I say, pause and say, what would love do now? Ernest Holmes said, and I quote, love points the way and law makes the way possible. Because when you set your intention to act from a loving place, the law of mind, the law which creates the mold into which our feelings are poured, and it takes the form of our feelings and produces what we are feeling. So if you pour resentment and anger into the mold, what do you get back? Perfectly formed resentment and anger. And if you pour love, what do you get back? Perfectly formed love in every facet and relationship of your life. For you see, there are many ways and many paths to spiritual fulfillment. And some of those paths are detours and others may be way off course. But you never need to mind, for the Science of Mind Declaration of Principles affirms that the goal of complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, is sure to be attained by all. So why not let us work at creating that reality now? I don't want to wait for some future time while I wallow in bad feelings and experiences of more and more resentment. I want to experience all the love that I am capable of receiving and giving in the now. And so the way to love is never lonely, my friends, because it always includes others and is illumined by the light of God's love that shines from within you. It's what I experienced when I encountered Reverend Helmer. Every step on love's way reveals more opportunities to love more and share more and to rejoice in the companionship of spiritual oneness. Jeannie Barnes spoke about sharing, and I think that is one of the ways to, one of the paths to love. I think we need to share more. I think we need to schedule a time with our family and our loved ones and our workers just to share. You know, perhaps before we start a meeting, if we just shared how we're feeling this morning, what's in our mind and what's on our heart, what are we feeling and what are we thinking? Take 10 minutes to do that, and it sets the tone for the relationship that you are going to be creating in that moment. So join her and Reverend Michael the following Wednesday, and they will alternate for sharing in the garden. It's one way to love and to experience love at the deepest possible levels. I brought with me a poem from that book my mother gave my father in 1947. Wow, such a long time ago. 47, I was 4 years old. My father read from that book every night to my brother and myself. We absolutely hated it. But he ended up being a poet, and many of those poems are stuck in they're in my DNA. I remember them in their entirety because I heard them. Instead of bedtime stories, there were poems read to us every night as we fell asleep. And so this poem is by a man called Roy Croft, and it is titled simply, Love. I love you, not only for what you are, but for what I am when I am with you. I love you not only for what you have made of yourself, but for what you are making of me. I love you for the part of me that you bring out. I love you for putting your hand into my heaped up heart and passing over all the foolish, weak things that you can't help dimly seeing there, and for drawing out into the light all the beautiful belongings that no one else had looked quite far enough to find. I love you because you are helping to make of the lumber of my life not a tavern, but a temple. Out of the works of my everyday, not a reproach, but a song. I love you because you have done more than any creed could have done to make me good, and more than any fate could have done to make me happy. You have done it without a touch, without a word, without a sign. You have done it by being yourself. Perhaps that is what being a friend means after all. Perhaps that is what being a friend means after all. Perhaps that is the way to love. Perhaps we could create a world that truly works for all if we remember that we were brought to this plane of action to be love, to express love, and to receive love. And so, my friends, now abideth faith, hope, love. These three. But the greatest of these is love. May your way to love be just filled with all your heart's desire. For me love, have lion heart, strong and everlasting, only for you. Namaste. Thank you. And so anyone celebrating a birthday in February, I want to love you up. So if you're in the sanctuary and you have a birthday in February, please stand. And if you are watching us on Facebook Live, stand too. Let us stand to know the truth of our being. Oh, look, birthdays galore within the sound of my voice. And I know that if you are on the World Wide Web and you are a February Love Month baby, all that your heart needs is being poured into you right now. So let us sing happy birthday for the loved ones. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear loved ones. Happy birthday to you. God is blessing you now. 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 Happy birthday to you. And as the universe joins in that birthday anthem, know with me that God is love. And that love wishing to experience more of its self-givingness, its beauty, its truth, its wholeness, its holiness, its goodness, incarnated itself for those celebrating a birthday in the month of February. That love said, "Whom shall I send? Who will go for us?" And these beautiful souls answered, "Here am I, Lord, send me. Send me to be a purveyor of your love, to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, to love and liberate everyone with whom I come into contact. Send me to speak the language of love, to touch others into wholeness with my gentleness, my faithfulness, my authenticity, and who I am." And so I know for those who stand before me and those all across the globe born in this month, that from the center of their being to the circumference of their conscious awareness, they live, move, and manifest life in a victorious state of love to the Creator of love and to the honor and glory of that Creator. This is the truth. As love becomes the way of their heart and the heart of their way, and the whole universe sings a birthday anthem. I love you, for me love have lion heart, strong and everlasting, only for you. This is the truth, and I give thanks that it is so. And so it is. And now, a love song by Carol and Lily.
Perhaps love is like a resting place, a shelter from the storm. It exists to give you comfort. It's there to keep you warm. And in those times of trouble, when you are most alone, the memory of love will lead you home.
Perhaps love is like a window, perhaps an open door. It invites you to come closer. It wants to show you more. And And even if you lose yourself and don't know what to do, the memory of love will see you through.
Oh, love to some is like a cloud, to some as strong as steel, for some a way of living, for some a way to feel.
And some say love is holding on, and some say letting go, and some say love is everything. Some say they don't know. Perhaps love is like the ocean, full of conflict, full of pain, like a fire when it's cold outside, thunder when it rains. If I should live forever and all my dreams come true, my memory of love will be of you. Oh, love to some is like a cloud, to some as strong as steel, for some a way of living, for some a way to feel, and some say love is holding on, and some say letting go, and some say love is everything. Some say they don't know. Perhaps love is like the ocean, full of conflict, full of pain, like a fire when it's cold outside, thunder when it rains. If I should live forever and all my dreams come true, my memory of love will be of you.
Oh. Oh, yes. Took me back to my parents smooching. Wonderful. Thank you, Lily. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Angela. You just filled me up to the brim. I'm about to overflow. Can we say the prayer of Jamaica, and can we stand for it? It's on a flyer in your program and it's on the screen. Together. The radiant light of God's love is now flowing through us and from us to everything and everyone it touches. The eternal light of God's love now completely fills, covers, and surrounds our island Jamaica. The glowing intensity of the light of God's love now interpenetrates and awakens within the hearts and minds of our countrymen and women the truths of life which set free. The light of God's love is growing and glowing in intensity in the hearts and minds of mankind everywhere. Love, health, harmony, goodwill, peace, uprightness, integrity, joy, prosperity, kindness, and our oneness under God are now established. And so it is. And as we're standing, can we just remain standing to sing our second hymn? This is You, on the screen and on page 3. How marvelous, how wonderful, the universal love has manifested here in you and me. I look at you and see in you the God potential there. This is the real you in reality. So let the infinite love shine through. This is you, really you. Believe God's life is the heart of you. Wait no longer to know that it's true. How marvelous, how wonderful, the universal love has manifested here in you and me. When happenings are negative, when everything seems wrong, remember that your attitude's the key. Deliberately then bring to mind the thoughts of harmony. It will reflect into your life, you'll see. So let the infinite love shine through. This is you, really you. Believe God's life is the heart of you. Wait no longer to know that it's true. How marvelous, how wonderful, the universe's love has manifested there in reality. The peace of God is not far off, it nestles in our hearts. So let's discover God within us all. This is the way to peace among the nations of the earth. Just know that God is living in us all. So let the infinite love shine through. This is you, really you. Believe God's life is the heart of you. Wait no longer to know that it's true. How marvelous, how wonderful, the universal love has manifested here in you and me. Would you just take your love offering in your hand, and if you are at home, just put your hand on your heart, because that too is an offering which blesses this ministry. Together we say, lovingly I give, joyfully I receive. Be thou fruitful, increase and multiply. Bless, prosper and enrich everyone whom you touch, and replenish all of my financial affairs. Thank you, Father. And so it is. And so as we give thanks for the gifts of love, of laughter, of money substance, of talent, of music, of prayer, of beauty, that are the path to love. We bless this temple of love called the Temple of Light, Center for Spiritual Living. We bless the temples of love that are every person that we encounter on this pathway, this upward spiral of light and life and truth into greater than we have ever experienced before. And we know that although we may be a distance from each other, the space between us is sanctified, it is holy space, it is filled with love. And we offer that chalice of our love to all whom we encounter so that they too, as the Master promised, would drink and never thirst again. And we give thanks. As we release this word to the law, we give thanks that love is, that we are, and that God is this love. And we know that this is so. And so it is. Let us sing, yes, there is love on earth.
Yes, there is love on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is love on earth, the love that was meant to be. With God as our power, family all are we. Yes, we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, love begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, yes, this is my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in love eternally. Yes, there is love on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
So my friends, thank you for being here. Let love be the heart of your way and the way of your heart. See you tomorrow morning at 6 in the garden, and on Tuesday evening with the lovely practitioner Jennifer Livingston for another spiritual enrichment service, a mind healing service that will lift you to the very heights of divine love. Thank you for being. God loves you, and so do I. Namaste.